The escape and arrival. The human drifted alone in a small transport ship, far from trade routes, far from colonies, far from anything that reminded him of the wars he had left behind. He was tired of running, tired of fighting, tired of watching friends fall one by one. The galaxy was big, but it never felt empty enough for him to hide, until his ship's sensors picked up a strange signal. It came from an old station orbiting a dying star. The outpost was not listed on any human or alien chart. No beacon, no patrol, no trade routes passing near it. It was simply there like a forgotten memory. He leaned forward in his chair, staring at the rotating shape on his display. The structure was massive, built with alien design, yet it floated in silence, without a single ship nearby. This could be it, he whispered to himself. His voice sounded strange in the empty cabin. He had said nothing to anyone for weeks. There was no one left to talk to. The station might be abandoned, maybe even dangerous, but it was exactly what he needed. A place no one would ever think to look. His ship groaned as it approached the docking ring. Lights flickered inside the old alien metal. Dust or something like it floated around the edges, yet the automatic clamp still came to life. Grabbing his ship with strength, it shocked him. For something that looked dead, the outpost still remembered its purpose. He put on his helmet and walked into the docking tunnel. The airlock hissed, ancient seals breaking after centuries of silence. He stepped inside, boots echoing against the hollow floor. The station was cold, dark, but not lifeless. Strange blue lights glowed faintly along the walls. Pulsing like veins, he paused, heart racing. If this place is empty, why are the systems still breathing? He thought. His hands tightened around the flashlight. He swept it across the hallway. Alien symbols were etched into the walls, worn down by time. They were not like the alien languages he had seen in the war. They felt older, heavier, as if they belonged to something far more ancient. Room by room he explored. The first chamber he entered was filled with dust and broken furniture. The second had collapsed, with twisted beams hanging like bones. But in the third he found something that made him stop. A console still active, humming faintly. The screen flickered with strange glyphs. Half dead but still alive, he touched it. The symbols shifted. Lines of light crawling across the surface. For a moment he thought he had broken it. Then slowly the display changed, showing star maps, routes he had never seen, and strange red warnings blinking at points across the galaxy. His breath caught. This was not just a forgotten outpost. It had been connected to something much larger. The silence pressed around him. He felt the weight of the station, as if unseen eyes were watching. He told himself it was only the creaking of old metal, but deep down he knew better. Something about the air, about the way the lights pulsed, made him feel like the station itself was aware. He set up his small pack in one of the cleaner rooms. A place to rest, he laid down his gear, unrolled his blanket, and tried to convince himself that this was now his refuge, his chance to vanish from the galaxy. No commanders, no soldiers, no enemies, just him and the ghosts of an alien place. But that night, as he sat in silence, he heard it. A faint sound deep in the walls, like a whisper carried by metal. At first he thought it was air escaping from old pipes. But it grew. It became a low hum, steady, purposeful. He turned off his light and listened. His heart pounded. The sound was not random, it was a pattern. He followed it through dark corridors, down stairwells, across empty halls. The deeper he went, the stronger it became. Until he reached a locked bulkhead, the hum vibrated through the metal. Echoing into his chest, he reached out, and for a second he thought he felt the door respond. As if it was alive, he stepped back, breathing hard. The abandoned station was not empty. It was sleeping, and his arrival had stirred it awake. Strange signals. The human woke to the strange hum still echoing through the alien station. It had not stopped since the night before. Instead, it pulsed in steady rhythms like the slow beat of a giant heart. He rubbed his eyes, half expecting it to be gone, but it was still there, steady, relentless. He switched on his wrist console, scanning for energy patterns. To his surprise, his small device detected faint transmissions. They were weak, almost broken, but they were real. His heart raced. He had not come here to find life. He only wanted a place to hide. Yet now the station whispered to him through invisible waves. He followed the readings back to the control chamber he had seen before. The console glowed brighter than last night. Symbols shifted across the screen, rearranging themselves. For a moment he thought the system was trying to talk to him, but he could not understand the alien language. The glyphs twisted into patterns, flashing in sequences. "Is this a signal?" he muttered under his breath. His voice sounded small in the vast empty chamber. He tapped a few keys on his wrist console. Trying to translate, the device struggled, spitting out half-formed words like warning, containment, do not open. He froze, staring at the translation. His stomach turned cold. The station had not been abandoned because it was useless. It had been left because something dangerous was hidden here. That thought clawed at him, but at the same time, his curiosity grew stronger. Humans had always been reckless explorers, and he was no different. The more the station warned him away, the more he wanted to know. He walked deeper into the structure, guided by the faint hum. The halls twisted like a labyrinth. Alien carvings lined the walls, glowing faintly as if the metal itself remembered light. Every step he took seemed to wake something else. Dust fell from the ceiling. Doors cracked open on their own. He could almost feel the station breathing. At the far end of a corridor, he found another chamber. This one was larger, filled with towering machines covered in dust and wires. Many were broken, their parts scattered across the floor. But one machine still glowed faintly. He brushed off the dust and found a panel filled with blinking lights. When he touched it, the hum grew louder. The walls themselves seemed to tremble. A sudden burst of sound filled the air, like static from a broken radio. He pulled back, covering his ears, but then, through the static, he heard something that froze him. A voice, not human, not clear, but unmistakably alive. The words were broken, stretched across the air. "Stay away, do not awaken." He stumbled backward. His mind raced. Was it the echo of the alien builders? Or was there something still here? Trapped, still trying to speak, he ran back to his pack, digging out the old translator he carried. He connected it to the station console. The machine buzzed, trying to piece the fragments together. The words came slowly, but they carried weight. Prison, danger, sealed within. The human sat in silence, the air around him heavy. If the station was a prison, then what was it holding? He looked at the walls again, at the way they pulsed with light. The hum was not just a signal, it was a lock, a cage, a barrier holding something in. He stood, determination filling him. He had not survived wars, betrayal, and exile only to cower now. Whatever the aliens had feared, whatever they had hidden, he needed to understand, because if he did not, someone else eventually would. And maybe humanity would pay the price. He took his flashlight and walked toward the lower levels. The hum grew louder, pressing into his chest like a weight. He passed broken doors, shattered chambers, and stairwells filled with dust. The deeper he went, the stranger the air became, heavy with static, thick like a storm about to break. At the bottom, he found another sealed bulkhead, this one far larger than the first. Its surface was covered in alien runes that glowed faintly as if alive. His translator scanned them, piecing together fragments. The words it gave him were chilling. Core containment, do not disturb, final warning. His breath came fast. His hand trembled as he reached out. The hum now roared through the walls, vibrating with power. His instincts told him to turn back, to run. But something stronger pulled him forward. The station was not abandoned. It was waiting, and now it had chosen him. The first discovery. The human stood before the massive sealed bulkhead. His heart pounded as the alien runes glowed faintly, warning him to turn back. Yet curiosity burned stronger than fear. He had lived through war, through fire, through betrayal, and nothing in this station could scare him more than his own memories. He pressed his hand to the cold surface. For a long moment nothing happened. Then the runes shimmered. Pulsing like blood in veins, the hum grew deeper, shaking the floor beneath his boots. Slowly, impossibly, the bulkhead began to open. Dust fell like snow as ancient locks gave way. The doors groaned, splitting apart, revealing a chamber filled with shadows. He stepped inside, flashlight beam cutting across the darkness. What he saw made him stop. Rows of glass pods lined the chamber, stretching across the walls like a frozen army. Each pod was cracked, broken, or empty. Inside the shattered remains, he saw fragments of bone, strange metal implants, and alien symbols etched into the glass. His breath caught. These were not machines. They were prisons, coffins, or perhaps both. He wiped the dust from one of the pods, staring at the inside. The walls of the glass glowed faintly, showing images that flickered like memories. He saw battles, stars burning, entire fleets consumed by fire. Then the images vanished. leaving only his own reflection staring back. He turned to another pod. This one was different. It was still intact. The glass shimmered with faint light. Inside was a shape humanoid but not human, its skin pale and translucent, its body tall and thin, its eyes closed as if sleeping. His hand shook as he pressed it against the glass. The hum of the station surged. Vibrating in his chest, the alien inside stirred. Its hand twitching against the glass, his heart leapt. He stumbled back, breath sharp in his throat. "No, this can't be," he whispered. Was it alive after all these centuries, or was the station playing tricks on him? The console at the far side of the chamber blinked to life. He hurried to it, his translator buzzing as it tried to read the ancient symbols. Words appeared slowly on his wrist display. Stasis containment compromised. Guardian protocols offline. Core integrity unstable. His mouth went dry. This place was not just an outpost. It was a vault, a prison, and he had just broken the lock. He looked around the chamber again, and this time he noticed more details. On the floor between the pods lay alien artifacts, weapons shaped from crystal and metal, fragments of armor that shimmered faintly in the light. He picked up a small piece, cold and smooth. It hummed faintly in his hand, as if remembering the battles it had seen. The translator buzzed again. Another message crawled across the display. "Containment breach will trigger failsafe." His eyes narrowed. What failsafe, he had no idea. But he knew enough to understand it would not be good for him. Or for anyone. He turned back to the intact pod. The alien inside twitched again. Its eyelids flickered, revealing a glimpse of dark, endless eyes. He stepped back quickly. His mind screamed at him to run, but his body refused to move. He was trapped between fear and fascination. Then a sound filled the chamber. A whisper carried through the walls. Not from the pod, but from the station itself. "Watcher," the voice said, broken and deep. "Do not awaken the buried." His breath came fast. Sweat dripping down his face. He had never felt so small, so powerless, but humans were stubborn. They were explorers, fools, dreamers, and survivors. He clenched his fists, forcing himself to breathe. If this station had secrets that could shake the galaxy, he would uncover them no matter the cost. He had come here to disappear, but now he felt the weight of something greater pressing down on him. He turned to leave, but the chamber door slammed shut behind him. Locking him in, lights blazed across the pods, one after another glowing brighter. The intact pod at the center shone with blinding light, and he heard a deep cracking sound, the awakening. The glass cracked again, a sharp sound that echoed across the chamber like thunder. The human raised his arm to shield his face, fragments of glowing shards falling to the floor. The light inside the pod pulsed brighter, then dimmed. The alien within remained motionless, its body pale and strange. But the hum of the station roared like a storm. Shaking every wall, he stumbled back toward the console. His translator buzzed wildly. Symbols raced across the screen faster than it could follow. The words it managed to form chilled him. Core activation sequence, containment breach detected, initiating emergency intelligence. Then the chamber filled with light. Not from the pods, but from the ceiling. Lines of energy traced across the walls, forming patterns that twisted into a shape. A figure emerged, not solid, not real, but a projection of light and sound. The human froze, his breath caught in his throat. It was the station itself, an ancient intelligence left behind by builders long vanished. The figure spoke, its voice fractured like static but layered with power. "Intruder," it said, "you disturb the sealed vault. You awaken what must remain buried." The human forced himself to speak. "I came here to hide. I didn't mean to break anything." His words sounded small, desperate even. But the figure did not answer directly. Instead, the runes on the walls glowed brighter. The AI's voice grew deeper. "The guardians are gone. The seals are broken. The choice falls to you." He shook his head, heart pounding. "What choice?" he demanded. But the station ignored his question. It shifted the projection, showing images across the chamber. Fleets of alien warships clashing in orbit. Planets burning. An empire falling in a single night. His stomach twisted. The builders of this place had not died quietly. They had fought to the last. The AI's voice came again, sharper now. They sought to master the core. It consumed them. It will consume you. The images changed, showing the pods, showing creatures like the one he had seen, warriors of light and shadow bound in glass prisons. One by one their eyes opened in the vision, and the hum grew louder until his bones vibrated. The human pressed his hands to his ears, but the voice still thundered in his head. You must choose, flee and let the core sleep, or open it and carry its burden. He staggered back, shaking his head. He had wanted peace, he had wanted silence, but the station refused to let him go. The intact pod cracked further, a long fracture running across the surface. A hiss of air filled the room. The figure of the AI flickered, its voice breaking. Warning, Guardian stasis compromised. Containment failing. Do not release. The last words echoed like a scream. Then the figure vanished, leaving him alone in the chamber. He turned toward the pod again. His heart hammered, the alien's chest moved. Shallow but real. It was breathing, his mind screamed at him to run, to escape while he still could, but his feet would not move. Curiosity and dread chained him in place. The hum shifted, becoming a rhythm. Slow and deliberate, it was no longer just noise. It was a voice, a heartbeat. The station was alive, and it was speaking to him in ways he did not understand. He felt the floor tremble under his boots. Corridors far above shaking as power surged through long-dead systems. Lights across the chamber flickered to life, revealing carvings etched deep into the walls. He studied them. His translator buzzed faintly, trying to interpret. The words came broken but clear enough. Chosen vessel. Human key. Not accident. His throat went dry. This was no random discovery. The station had waited. It had chosen him, panic struck. He stumbled toward the sealed bulkhead to escape, but it slammed shut with a force that rattled the chamber. He pounded against it, but it did not budge behind him. The pod hissed again, glass splintering into shards. A pale hand pressed against the surface from the inside. Fingers long and sharp, he froze, his breath shallow. The alien inside opened its eyes, black and endless. They locked on him, and for a heartbeat he felt as if the entire galaxy stared through that gaze. The station whispered in his mind, not in sound, but in thought. It awakens. The glass began to break. The hidden truth. The alien's black eyes held his gaze. Endless and cold, the human stumbled back, his breath sharp in his throat. The pod cracked again, shards falling like rain. Yet the figure inside did not step forward. Instead, the station hummed louder, the AI's broken voice returning. Containment breach. Truth revealed. Do not flee. The chamber walls flickered with light. Ancient images appeared around him, carved into metal yet glowing as if alive. He turned slowly, staring at scenes older than human history. Armies of alien warriors marched, carrying weapons that shimmered like stars. Behind them towered machines built to pierce worlds. The alien empire that built this place had not been weak. They had ruled with fire and fear, but then the images changed. He saw the same warriors consumed in battle. Their fleets shattered, their cities turned to dust. At the center of their destruction burned a swirling core of light. A weapon alive and vast, the translator buzzed, struggling with the glyphs. The core of worlds. Living weapon. Uncontrollable. His stomach turned cold. He realized then why the station existed. It was no home, no outpost. It was a cage, built to hold the weapon that had devoured its makers. The pods around him were not just stasis chambers. They were prisons for those who had touched the core and survived twisted. Guardians chained to ensure it never awoke again. He stepped closer to the console. His hands trembling, the AI spoke again, fractured but clear enough. We built the core to end our enemies. It ended us instead. This station is the last lock. His chest tightened. His mind raced with questions. If the aliens could not control it, what chance did humanity have? The alien in the pod pressed its pale hand harder against the glass. Its lips parted and a voice, faint but real, filled the chamber. Human, it whispered, the word cracked and broken. But unmistakable, his eyes widened, it could speak his tongue. How? He whispered back, his voice shook. But the alien only repeated, human, key. The hum swelled, the air thick with pressure. The chamber lights flashed red. The translator spat out warnings faster than he could read. Core destabilizing, containment limits breached. He clutched the edge of the console. His heart hammered. He had come here to escape, to bury himself in silence. Now he stood at the center of a secret that could burn the stars. Humanity had never been ready for this, but maybe that was the point. The AI's voice returned, softer now, like an echo fading. Your kind was never meant to find this place, yet here you are. The galaxy will shift because of you. The human gritted his teeth. His life had been one long chain of running, of trying to forget. But here, in the silent heart of an alien prison, he understood something. Maybe he had not been running away. Maybe he had been running toward this moment all along. He stared at the pod again. The alien's black eyes glimmered. Not with malice, but with something harder to name. Was it hope? Was it hunger? He did not know. He pressed his hand against the glass, and for a breath, their hands touched through the barrier. A surge of light exploded across the chamber. The pods around him flickered, their broken forms glowing briefly as if remembering life. The translator screamed one final warning. Failsafe activated. Core interface imminent. The AI's projection flickered into existence once more, shouting over the rising hum, "You must not connect. Do not open the core." But the human already felt it. A thread of energy winding through his veins. A connection forming between him and the alien technology. The choice was slipping from his hands. The station had chosen him. The alien whispered one last word, carried on a voice that shook the air. Awaken. The chamber walls shuddered. The floor split with cracks of light. Deep below, something vast stirred, something that had slept for centuries, waiting for this moment, and in that instant he knew the truth. The core was not just a weapon, it was alive. The confrontation. The floor cracked with lines of light, stretching like rivers across the chamber. The human stumbled back, shielding his eyes as the glow intensified. The alien in the pod pressed harder against the glass. Its black eyes locked on him. The whisper of "awaken" still echoed in his skull. Then the station shifted. For the first time since he had entered, it felt alive in motion. Gears clanged deep in the walls, heavy shutters slid into place, and old machines stirred from their long slumber. The AI's broken voice thundered above the noise. Containment breach confirmed. Activating Guardians. From the corners of the chamber, shapes unfolded. Machines, tall and angular, rose from hidden alcoves. Their frames were covered in dust, but their weapons gleamed with cold light. Their heads snapped toward the human, glowing with blue fire. They had been waiting for centuries. And now they had found an intruder. His chest tightened. His instincts screamed at him to run, but the bulkhead doors sealed tight. The only path left was through the machines. He ducked as the first blast of energy scorched past his head, slamming into the wall with a thunderous crack. He rolled behind a console, heart pounding. His weapon was nothing compared to alien technology, a simple human sidearm. But he had survived wars against impossible odds before. Humans were never the strongest, but they were stubborn. They adapted, they endured, the machines advanced. Their heavy steps shaking the floor, he fired, the sharp crack of his weapon echoing across the chamber. One of the machines stumbled, sparks flashing across its chest, but it did not fall. They were built to withstand worse, he cursed under his breath. The pod beside him cracked again. Louder this time, the alien inside twitched, lips moving as if trying to form words. The station hummed with rising energy, feeding power into everything, including the Guardians. The AI's voice echoed, broken but commanding. Intruder must be neutralized. Containment priority. He realized with a sinking dread that the station itself now saw him as the threat, not the alien inside the pod. He grabbed a piece of fallen alien metal from the ground. Heavy and jagged, he had no plan, only desperation. When the nearest machine loomed above him, raising its weapon, he swung with all his strength. The strike connected with the glowing core in its chest. The machine screamed with static and collapsed in sparks. The others turned instantly, focusing their fire on him. He sprinted across the chamber, leaping behind broken pods as energy bolts shattered glass and metal. He ducked low, lungs burning. Every blast shook the room, showering him with debris. Then he noticed something. The Guardians hesitated whenever they fired near the central pod. Their programming, even after centuries, still protected whatever was inside. A reckless idea formed in his mind. If he stayed near the pod, maybe he could survive. He dashed toward it. Sliding against the cracked glass, the alien's black eyes met his again. For a moment the chaos faded, replaced by a chilling connection. He could feel its thoughts brushing against his own. A word echoed in his mind without sound. Together, the machines closed in, weapons glowing, but as the alien's hand pressed against the inside of the glass, the pod pulsed with blinding light. A wave of energy surged outward, slamming into the machines. They staggered, sparks flying, their systems flickering. The human shielded his face. heat searing his skin. When the light faded, 3 of the Guardians were down, smoking ruins on the floor. The last one limped forward. Damaged but not defeated, it raised its weapon again, its aim steady on the human's chest. He braced himself, but before it could fire, the pod shattered completely. The alien stepped out, tall and thin, its skin pale as frost. Its eyes burned like endless night. It moved with a strange grace. Silent yet powerful, it raised one long hand, and the last machine froze mid-step. Its body shook violently before exploding into shards of metal and sparks. Silence followed, broken only by the steady hum of the station. The human stood frozen, staring at the alien now free. It turned its head slowly toward him. Its lips moved, the word forming clearly this time. Key! His breath caught, his heart pounded. The station trembled as if bowing to its new master, or perhaps to both of them. He realized then that the real confrontation had only just begun. The revelation. The chamber was silent, but it was not the silence of emptiness. It was the silence of something vast holding its breath. The alien stood before the human, tall, pale, eyes endless like the void between stars. Its presence filled the room like gravity, heavy and inescapable. The human's pulse thundered in his ears. His weapon hung useless in his hand. He could not lift it, not against this being, not after what he had just seen. The alien raised its hand not in threat but in command. The walls of the chamber responded instantly, glowing brighter, runes shifting like rivers of light. The translator buzzed wildly, struggling to catch the words. The alien spoke, voice deep and smooth, carrying weight older than human memory. The seal is broken, it said. The core stirs. The human swallowed hard. What are you? He asked, his voice cracked. The alien tilted its head slightly. We were guardians, it answered. We were chained, now we are free. The AI's flickering figure appeared again. Broken and weak, its voice strained with static. Containment lost. Core interface imminent. Termination required. But its words were drowned as the floor split wider. A blinding light poured from below, endless and alive. The core, hidden for centuries, was awakening. The human staggered to the edge of the crack. Staring down into the abyss, it was not a machine. Not in any way he understood. It was alive. Swirling energy that moved like thought, shifting like breath. He felt it press against his mind, gentle yet unstoppable. A presence that whispered not with sound but with meaning. It spoke in vision, stars exploding, empires burning, chains breaking. It showed him humanity, small but stubborn, fragile but fierce. He saw them standing before alien empires, defiant as always. The core whispered one word through his mind. Not in alien tongue, but in his own, potential. His knees weakened. He realized then why the alien builders had fallen. They had tried to use the core as a weapon, but the core had chosen differently. It could not be controlled, only bonded, and now, by accident or fate, it had found him. The alien guardian stepped closer, its voice low and heavy. You are the vessel, it said. Humanity will carry the burden. The human shook his head violently. No, I didn't come here for this. I came here to disappear. But the core whispered again, its voice threading into his thoughts. You cannot hide. The chamber shook violently. Metal screamed as ancient supports cracked. Dust rained from above. The AI's projection flickered one last time, voice trembling. You must choose. Seal it again and die with it. Or take it and change everything. His chest heaved. His mind raced. To seal the core would end him. The Guardians would not let him leave alive, but to bond with it would mean carrying a power older than history. A power that could either save his kind or destroy them. He stared at the alien. Its black eyes burned into his, waiting slowly. His trembling hand reached out, touching the alien's cold palm. The core surged upward, light flooding the chamber, blinding, searing. His body shook as energy poured through him, filling every nerve, every bone. For a moment he felt as if he was dissolving, becoming part of the light, becoming part of the core. Visions tore through him. Humanity standing at the heart of the galaxy. Fleets of alien empires watching, afraid. He saw war, he saw peace. He saw endless paths branching before him. The core did not force him, it simply opened the door. The choice would always be his. The light faded slowly. The alien bowed its head, silent. The AI's voice was gone, the station now quiet again. The human staggered, his body weak, his mind blazing with power he could not yet understand. He looked up, and for the first time in years, He did not feel lost, he felt purpose. He walked toward the exit, the alien following in silence. The galaxy outside had no idea what had just awakened, but soon it would. Humanity would no longer be hidden, no longer underestimated, because the core had chosen a human, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same.